Clarissa Ward from CNN is continuing to get exposed after she faked saving a prisoner in Syria. As if we hadn't already been inundated with enough propaganda since the overthrow of Assad, Clarissa Ward went into a prison looking for an American journalist, but instead supposedly found a prisoner being held in solitary confinement. Now, this prisoner was supposedly forgotten after spending 3 months in solitary confinement while Assad was still in power. And although nobody else found him, Clarissa Ward and the CNN team just so happened to rescue him in daring and extravagant fashion. And of course, they made sure them cameras were on. Now, upon his rescue, some people noticed some things that didn't quite add up. Like the fact the man's beard looked like it was just edged up yesterday. Not like he had just gotten done spending 90 days in solitary confinement. Also, he looked like he just hopped up out the bed, turned his swag on, and took a look in the mirror after getting out of the shower, because the man was squeaky clean. Now, it's not that prisons don't have showers. It's just that you shouldn't have access to a shower if everybody forgot about you and you were left alone in a locked cell. The man even looked straight up at the sky, at the sun, and didn't flinch, didn't blink. It's like, oh my God, son. Like, nah, bro, if you have been locked in a dark place for that long, you don't want to look at the sun. You're looking at the ground or you're closing your eyes. In fact, there were so many discrepancies in the story that a U.S. Western fact-checking organization that normally traffics the U.S. lives for them even said, yeah, this ain't really adding up, dog. According to the Western fact-checking organization Verify, Adil Rahbal is actually Salama Muhammad Salam. And he's actually a first lieutenant, or at least he was a first lieutenant in the Syrian Air Force intelligence. And although he was in prison, and he was imprisoned while Assad was in power, he was actually put in prison because of all of the crimes of corruption and extortion that he committed while Assad was in power. But he hadn't been in solitary confinement for 90 days. He had actually only recently been confined. Now, of course, upon finding out this information, I'm sure we all expect CNN to do the right thing and issue a staunch retraction to protect their journalistic integrity. No, they're just doubling down. And apparently Clarissa Ward is actually still working on the ground in Syria. And CNN is apparently repeatedly airing this video as if it is truthful or factual, despite the fact that this has been exposed as one of the clearest instances of fake news and propaganda, maybe in the history of regime change. But in my opinion, this is actually a little bit more sinister than just some journalistic mistake or error. You see, Mr. Salomon was known for being corrupt. That's what he was in prison for. CNN just so happens to arrive at a prison where he happens to be at. And there was no record of him being in solitary confinement, but he all of a sudden showed up there, and it was just Clarissa Ward who happens to find him and goes viral for saving the Syrian prisoner who was being held because Assad was See, to me, it looks like CNN is not taking this story down. In fact, they're doubling down. And then they're also not taking out Clarissa from the field because this was state-sponsored propaganda. As in, it looks like they found this guy a while ago and put him back in prison to stage this entire thing. And once again, judging from how bad the acting is and the total lack of effort to stage this event, it looks like they were taking notes from Israel, to be honest. That's just not. But I just remember how quick social media platforms were to ban the Hunter Biden. How quick social media was to ban laptops. I remember how quick social media platforms were to literally suspend some of my colleagues for doing their job. But once again, CNN gets caught deliberately lying, and there is no consequence. I mean, outside of a community note or two on X, this is exactly why no one trusts the mainstream media and corporate media is dying. But this is also another clear indication that you should question any and everything you hear about what's happening in Syria if it comes from the mouth of one of these corporate tools. Because clearly they have other goals and they're trying to control the narrative. And you should ask yourself why.